Carrie Bradshaw has never been a stranger to heartbreak, reinvention, or shocking choices, but nothing could have prepared fans for the finale of And Just Like That Season 3. The ending wasn't just surprising. It was a moment that forced us to look back at Carrie's entire journey from her fearless days of writing about love in New York City to the woman she has become now. What makes this finale so powerful isn't only what Carrie does, but what it means for her identity, her relationships, and her future. And just like that, the story we thought we knew changed forever. The finale of And Just Like That Season 3 drops us right back into the whirlwind that is Carrie Bradshaw's life. Over the years, Carrie has become more than just a character. She's been a mirror for so many of us, capturing the messy, complicated, and beautiful sides of love and friendship. In this season, we watched her navigate questions that go beyond romance. What does it mean to move forward after loss? How do you stay true to yourself when life keeps rewriting the rules? And most importantly, can you still discover new versions of yourself even when the world thinks they already know your story? Season 3 is built on these themes. Carrie, once known for her bold voice in print, is quieter now, more reflective. She is still witty, stylish, and iconic, but there's a new weight to her presence. The death of Mr. Big still lingers over her world, shaping the choices she makes and the way she connects with others. Her relationship with Aidan, once a nostalgic flame, returns this season with a bittersweet intensity. It isn't just about rekindling an old romance, it's about whether Carrie can truly revisit her past, or if she's destined to keep moving forward, even when her heart wants to turn back. The finale sets itself up by weaving together not just Carrie's story, but also the struggles of her friends. Miranda has been redefining what independence means after years of structured routines and a marriage that no longer served her. Charlotte is facing the challenges of being a mother whose children are growing up faster than she can hold on to. And then there are the newer characters Seema, Naya, and Lisa, who bring their own perspectives on love, career, and identity, echoing the very same questions that Carrie is asking herself. This mixture of voices creates a chorus around Carrie, reminding us that no journey is taken alone, even when the spotlight feels like it belongs to her. But what makes this finale so striking is the sense of finality in Carrie's choices. Every scene leading up to the shocking ending is layered with subtle hints, her conversations, her pauses, the way she looks at familiar places in New York. Each moment whispers that something is about to change. The show doesn't announce it loudly. Instead, it builds an atmosphere of quiet anticipation, the kind where viewers hold their breath without even realizing it. By the time we reach the ending, it feels both inevitable and unthinkable, like watching someone step into a door you never imagined they would open. What the finale does so well is hold up a mirror to Carrie's past while also challenging her to embrace something entirely new. We see flashes of the Carrie we've always known, the dreamer, the romantic, the woman who could write her way through any heartbreak. But we also see a Carrie who has grown tougher, more grounded, and more willing to face uncomfortable truths. That tension between old and new Carrie is what gives the finale its emotional punch. It's not just about one shocking choice. It's about years of storytelling crashing together in a single moment for fans who have been following Carrie since Sex and the City. This finale hits differently. It doesn't just close out a season, it forces us to ask whether we really know Carrie at all, or if she's still capable of reinventing herself in ways that defy everything we've come to expect. And maybe that's the greatest twist of all, that, after decades of watching her, Carrie Bradshaw can still surprise us. Before we can understand the shocking twist in the finale, we need to look back at the chain of events that carried Carrie Bradshaw to this very moment. Every storyline in Season 3 worked like stepping stones, each one pushing her closer to the edge of a decision that would leave fans stunned. At the heart of it all was Aidan Shaw. His return this season wasn't just a nostalgic callback for longtime fans. It was a test of how much Carrie has changed and how much she hasn't. When Aidan stepped back into her life, it was as though time folded in on itself. Old feelings rushed in, but so did the weight of history, their heartbreak, their mismatched dreams, and the haunting question of whether love can ever truly be rekindled after being broken once before. Carrie, who has always danced between fantasy and reality, suddenly found herself caught in a romance that was both comforting and terrifying. The relationship was never just about love, it was about timing. Aidan came back with baggage of his own, a family he couldn't walk away from, responsibilities that kept him tethered to another world. Carrie, on the other hand, was at a stage in her life where she craved clarity and freedom. The contrast was striking, one woman trying to move forward after devastating loss, and one man still anchored by his past obligations. Their storylines collided in ways that made every episode feel like a countdown to an inevitable breaking point. But Carrie's arc doesn't unfold in isolation. The lives of her friends add layers of meaning to her choices. Miranda, for instance, has been struggling to balance independence with vulnerability. Her breakup with Che left her shaken, but it also forced her to reevaluate who she is when she isn't tied to a partner or a title. Miranda's bravery in reshaping her identity became a silent mirror for Carrie, who was quietly facing her own questions about identity. Was she still the woman who believed in grand, sweeping love stories, or had she become someone else entirely? Charlotte's journey, too, reverberated around Carrie. Charlotte has always been the heart of tradition, the one clinging to ideals of family, structure, and order. But in Season 3, she is confronted with the chaos of watching her children grow into people she doesn't always understand. Her attempts to stay in control often backfire, teaching her painful but necessary lessons about letting go. These lessons seep into Carrie's world as well because in many ways, Carrie is also being asked to let go of the past, of the version of herself she thought would last forever. The newer voices in Carrie's circle also play a crucial role. Seema Patel, with her sharp wit and unapologetic independence, becomes an unlikely guide for Carrie. Seema represents what it means to live fully and fearlessly, even when the world tries to tell you your story is over. Her friendship with Carrie becomes a space where honesty thrives, and those conversations push Carrie toward difficult truths. Meanwhile, Lisa Todd Wexley struggles with balancing motherhood, career, and personal fulfillment, create a backdrop that emphasizes how every woman in this story is wrestling with reinvention. What ties all of these arcs together is the feeling of restlessness. Throughout Season 3, the show builds an undercurrent of characters asking themselves, is this enough? For Miranda, it's about love. For Charlotte, it's about family. For Seema, it's about independence. And for Carrie, it's about destiny. Each storyline circles back to that haunting question, whether they are meant to stay where they are, or whether something bigger, scarier, and more transformative is waiting just beyond the horizon. By the time we approach the finale, the tension is unmistakable. Carrie begins to notice the cracks in her relationship with Aidan. The laughter and passion they share cannot disguise the looming distance of his obligations. And in quiet moments, we see Carrie staring at her life as though she knows a choice is coming, a choice that will hurt no matter which way she turns. These moments aren't loud or dramatic. They're subtle, delicate, and almost painful in their silence. It's the stillness before the storm, and viewers can feel that something irreversible is about to happen. This is what makes the finale so impactful. It isn't just a random shock dropped in for drama, it's the culmination of every storyline. Every tear, every late-night conversation that Season 3 has delivered. The ground has been shifting under Carrie's feet all along. And in the finale, she finally stops pretending it isn't. Asterisk, and then it happens, the moment that rewrites everything. After episodes of fragile hope, long conversations, and careful compromises, Carrie Bradshaw makes a choice that shocks not just her friends on screen, but the millions of fans who have followed her for decades. The Season 3 finale delivers a twist that feels both inevitable and unthinkable. Carrie decides to let Aidan go. It is not a breakup in the traditional sense. It is not a fight or a betrayal or the unraveling of love. It is something quieter, more devastating. Carrie realizes that no matter how much she loves Aidan, no matter how deeply she wants to believe in second chances, their lives no longer fit together. Aidan is tied to his family, bound by responsibilities that will always keep him at a distance. Carrie, on the other hand, is at a stage where she refuses to shrink herself again. She cannot wait 5 years, 10 years, or however long it takes for Aidan's world to align with hers. The decision is not about a lack of love, it is about the harsh truth that love alone is not enough. This is the shocking core of the finale. Carrie walking away from what could have been the safest, sweetest ending. For fans, it feels like a punch to the heart. Many expected Carrie to finally settle with Aidan, to find the comfort she once denied herself. But the show refuses to give us the fairy tale. Instead, it gives us something more honest, more painful, and ultimately more powerful. The idea that closure doesn't always come in the form of happily ever after. Sometimes it comes in the form of saying goodbye. Even when your heart still wants to stay, the way the finale stages this moment is crucial. It is not a loud breakup scene filled with shouting or tears. Instead, the shock comes from its stillness. Carrie and Aidan share words that feel final, but respectful. There is no anger, just resignation. The camera lingers on their faces, allowing viewers to read every flicker of pain and every ounce of understanding between them. This restraint makes the ending hit harder, because it mirrors real life. Often the most heartbreaking choices are made quietly, with nothing more than a sigh and a final look for Carrie. The decision symbolizes something bigger than romance. Throughout the series, she has wrestled with who she is without the anchor of the love she once believed was her destiny. With Aidan, she was given a chance to rewrite her story, to step into the past and see if it still fit. The shocking twist is that Carrie finally understands she cannot live in the past anymore. She must step forward, even if it means stepping alone. It is a moment of radical self-honesty, one that strips away her romantic illusions and leaves her standing in the raw truth of who she has become. The ending also carries layers of symbolism. Carrie's final scene standing in her apartment, looking out at the city, is a callback to the very beginning of her journey. It is as though the series is folding back on itself, reminding us of the young woman who once typed about love and heartbreak with wide-eyed wonder. But now, the look on her face is different. There is no giddy anticipation, no certainty that love will solve everything. Instead, there is a steadiness, a quiet strength. Carrie has not lost hope in love, but she has shifted her hope inward onto herself, her independence, her capacity to keep going even when the story doesn't end the way she imagined. For longtime fans, this twist challenges the very foundation of Carrie's identity. For years, she was the woman who believed in the power of great love stories. The finale flips this belief on its head. Carrie chooses herself, not the man. She chooses freedom over comfort, uncertainty over security. And that decision, shocking as it may be, feels like the most authentic ending she could have in this stage of her life. The finale doesn't give us easy answers. We don't know exactly what lies ahead for Carrie, or whether this is truly the end of her love story with Aidan. But what we do know is that Carrie has made peace with letting go. And that, perhaps, is the most shocking twist of all, that the woman who once built her entire identity around chasing love has now realized the most important love story she has. Left to right is the one with herself. Asterisk. When the screen fades on Carrie Bradshaw in the Season 3 finale, the silence feels louder than words. The decision to walk away from Aidan doesn't just close a chapter, it tears open a new one, filled with questions about what's left for Carrie and what might come next. For fans, this ending is not merely shocking because of what Carrie chose, it's shocking because of what it sets into. Carrie is no longer the woman we first met in Sex and the City. Back then, she was defined by her column, her clothes, and her hunger for big, impossible love stories. Over time, life stripped away the illusions and forced her to confront harder truths: grief, loneliness, compromise, and the heavy cost of choices. The finale of And Just Like That Season 3 leaves her standing at a crossroads. She could retreat into safety, but instead she embraces uncertainty. And that is where her power lies, now not in knowing what's next, but in daring to step into it without fear. The aftermath of Carrie's decision resonates across every storyline. For Miranda, it means seeing her best friend walk away from a relationship that, on paper, seemed like the right fit. Miranda, who has struggled to redefine her own identity, can see in Carrie's choice the permission to keep searching, to stop forcing herself into shapes that don't feel true anymore. Charlotte, ever the champion of happily ever after, is shaken by Carrie's choice, but it also forces her to ask herself if holding on to tradition is always the answer, or if sometimes letting go is the only way to grow. And then there's Seema throughout the season. She's been a voice of independence and unapologetic self-worth. Carrie's shocking finale decision almost feels like it echoes Seema's philosophy that you are complete even when you stand alone. Their friendship, strengthened by this realization, may become one of the most important pillars of Carrie's next chapter. In a way, Carrie's story has been moving toward this all along, away from the dream of being completed by another, and toward the truth of being whole on her own. But what does this mean for a potential season 4? The possibilities are endless. Carrie's decision opens up space for new relationships. Yes, but more importantly, it opens up space for her relationship with herself. We might see Carrie take risks that don't involve romance at all, diving deeper into her writing, rediscovering passions she left behind, or even stepping into new roles that test her independence. The show could explore themes that stretch beyond love stories, focusing instead on self-reinvention in midlife, a theme that resonates deeply with audiences who have grown alongside her. Of course, fans will still speculate about Aidan. Is this truly the end of their story? Or is the door still open for him to return, changed and ready? The finale leaves just enough ambiguity to fuel endless conversations. But perhaps that's the point. Carrie's story has never been about final answers. It's been about the questions, the risks, the leaps into the unknown. Whether Aidan reappears or not, Carrie has already made the most important choice, choosing not to wait, not to compromise her life for someone else's timeline. The emotional impact of this finale is massive. It asks viewers to sit with discomfort, to accept that not every story ties itself neatly into a bow. For some, it feels heartbreaking. For others, it feels empowering. And that tension is exactly why Carrie Bradshaw remains one of the most enduring characters in television history. She reflects the messy contradictions of life, longing for love but unwilling to lose herself in it. Wanting stability, but restless for freedom. Chasing answers, but learning to live inside the questions. As the credits rolled, one thing became clear: Carrie's journey isn't over, it's only evolving. And maybe that's the message of, and just like that, life doesn't give us a perfect ending. It gives us chapters, each one demanding that we let go of who we were to become who we're meant to be. Carrie Bradshaw has closed the door on one love story, but in doing so, she has opened the door to something even greater, the chance to write the next one herself, and just like that, the story continues.